Hello everyone, welcome to our video. In this video, I will explain to you about Victorian era. But before that, meet our friends who contribute to this video. So, what is Victorian era? Victorian era is one of the eras in the history of English literature. It is known as the era of learning, political reform, and social change. The Industrial Revolution, as well as the first invention of telephone and telegraph, occurred in this era. Victorian era in British history began around 1820 to 1914, corresponding roughly but not exactly to the period of Queen Victoria's reign. And it's characterized by a class-based society, a growing number of people able to vote, a growing state and economy, and Britain's status as the most powerful empire in the world. In this video, we will focus on the social and political side that developed in the Victorian era. What happened and how it developed? What are the literary works that appear on its side? Let's jump right into it. There were three social classes in Victorian era: upper class, middle class, and lower class. The upper class consists of the royal family, which had the highest power. The middle class consists of the moral leaders of society who were also involved with political power. And the lower class consists of workers and peasants. From the division of the three social classes, we can conclude that the division of social classes is divided based on the power they have. Not only that, but in the Victorian era, there was also an early baby boom, which led to population levels and the advancement of industrialization. The progression of England as a society led to a greater demand for labor from both adults and children. The progress of industrialization affected the significant change that occurred in Victorian society. The income of the urban community was increasingly prosperous. The prosperity that developed in the Victorian era can be seen in the supply of housing and building standards that continues to increase. The Victorian era also set and achieved new standards in urban living. For example, establishing the local government and education development. In 1842, children were banned from working in factories and were given proper education. Now, let's move on to the political background of the Victorian era. The former political system was a constitutional monarchy and two houses of parliament, the House of Lords and the House of Commons. The monarchs during this period were Queen Victoria, preceded by King George IV and King William IV, and followed by King Edward VII and King George V. The House of Commons became the center of government and consists of about 600 members of parliament who are elected to represent the counties and boroughs of England, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland. The House of Lords was populated principally by several hundred noblemen. Members of both houses were wealthy men. Formal national politics was dominated by two major parties, the Liberal Party and the Conservative Party. The abolition of slavery in British Empire. The Act of Parliament abolished slavery in most British colonies, freeing more than 800,000 enslaved Africans in the Caribbean and South Africa, as well as a small number in Canada. The Chartist movement was the first mass movement driven by the working classes. It grew following the failure of the 1832 Reform Act to extend the vote beyond those owning property. And political conflicts between Ireland and Britain were also called the Troubles or Northern Ireland Conflict. Violent sectarian conflict from about 1968 to 1998 in Northern Ireland between Protestant Unionists who desired the province to remain part of the United Kingdom and Roman Catholic nationalists who wanted Northern Ireland to become part of the Republic of Ireland. And that's the background of the social and political aspect of the Victorian era. As we know, based on the background and characteristic of the Victorian era, industrial and technological events during this era greatly influenced the development of society. Society and many other aspects are also developing, including literary works. The English Industrial Revolution, which occurred due to technological advance, resulted in the availability of a lot of reading material and began to grow the number of those who were literate. Later, this era was considered as the golden age of English novel or prose. This contributed to the rapid increase in the popularity of novels and the number of libraries in circulation. Novels are the most favorite literature and the main form of entertainment in this era. Victorian novels tend to be idealized portraits of difficult lives in which hard work, perseverance and luck win out in the end. Virtue will be rewarded and wrongdoers are suitably punished. One of the literary works that appeared in the Victorian era was Vanity Fair. Vanity Fair is a novel by William Makepeace Thackeray. Follows the lives of Becky Sharp, a strong-willed, penniless young woman, and her friend Amelia Amy Sedley, a good-natured, wealthy young woman. Set against the backdrop of the Napoleonic Wars, Vanity Fair charts the girl's misadventures in love, marriage, and family. Becky, manipulative, witty, and immoral, is Amy's opposites, while Amy, initially presented as the novel's heroine, is passive, sweet, likable, and bound to her family's wishes. Becky, forced to become a governess by circumstances, marries the speaker wealthy, while Amy marries a man disinherited by his prejudiced father. The novel was first published as a 19-volume morning series from 1847 to 1848, with the subtitle Pen and Pencil Sketches of the English Society, reflecting its satire on early 19th century English society. Vanity Fair describes the social situation that shows up to the characteristic of Victorian society, namely morality, money orientation, family life system, and affairs. And that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you for being here and taking the time to watch this video. For the last thing, have a nice day.